Hi everyone. Before we start, I wanted to take the time to thank everybody that viewed the last video. I know I'm not PewDiePie or Mr. Beast here that have 15 million views, but just the same, if 100 or more people sit down and view one of my videos, I greatly appreciate it. I thank you. I can only imagine what a heck of an audience it would be if we had 100 ASL enthusiasts or more in a room, a conference hall, and I had the opportunity of talking to you. That's the way I see it, and it was really exciting to see so many views on my last video. I thank you greatly. What this video will be about is my so-called ASL bot or algorithm I use for solo play. It's definitely not SASL. It's definitely not anything that is electronic in terms of actually having a C# file or a VBA program that guides me. But it's an algorithm just the same. And what do I mean by an algorithm? It is a set of rules that if you follow, you'll probably end up having a good sense of how to execute your solo play. So before I begin, I just want to give you a metaphor for this, or a simile, if you like. So basically, when I was a young kid, I used to be really keen on model aviation, especially things that flew. And unfortunately, I never acquired any decent RC airplanes, but I was really great in deeply into free flight models, balsa with rubber band winding, really simple stuff. The Gillo stuff, especially the $2 airplanes that would fly, 1/72nd scale, and control line. And the greatest control line model that I ever flew was the PT-17 by Cox Airplane, COX. All right, great. So the first time I took it out to fly, I flew it with a childhood friend of mine that had experience in flying those airplanes. And he told me the first rule of thumb was actually you'd have to use your thumb. You basically lick your thumb and then you held it up into the air and counted into the air, into the wind, and counted 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, and 5 Mississippi. At the end of that count, if your thumb was dry, it was not safe to fly. The wind was too strong, more than 5 knots per hour. And if your thumb was still wet, you were still to go. So it wasn't the most sanitary thing you could do. You'd lick your thumb, but back in those days, we used to play in the dirt. We used to get scruff marks on our knees, and we took licking and kept on ticking like the good old Timex watches. So again, where I'm going with this is an approximate or something that is not die hard and cast in stone, but it's still a logical flow of things of rules that you can follow to play an enjoyable game of solo. And playing solo is important. It is important because it's a practice run for your face-to-face games or your vassal games. I had a good friend, George Bott, that he created actually a VBA script in Excel to help him play solo. And let me tell you, he gave me a run for his money when we were used to playing classic squad leader scenarios. So with that said, that context in mind, let's go on to the next slide and see where that takes us. Let's see, slide number 2, there you go. So the first thing that you need to do before you go playing solo is read the scenario card and you determine what kind of action will be taking place, what kind of battle will be taking place. Is it an assault where one side is on the defense and the other side is attacking, right? Then the second type that you have is, well, the opposite of an assault, or the protagonist is in defense and there's another side attacking. So it's the opposite of assault, or the different face of the same situation as before. And the other type of scenario that I've seen is a meeting engagement where both sides are attacking, and perhaps both sides win by amassing more casualty victory points than the other. Second cup of Joe, folks, early in the morning. Nescafe, 2 creams, and 1 Splenda. Diabetes is not the easiest thing to manage and deal with. So once you determine what type of scenario you're playing, what is the next natural consequence is determining how to play the attacker or defender. Now, I did preface the title in the beginning of the slide that this is not SASL, okay? This is not SASL. It is not a scripted program for the computer. It's just a methodology. Now, having said that, my good friend Dennis Garvin made at least 3 videos on SASL, and I'm going to link those videos to my video below. I've also discovered on YouTube a video that was done long ago where someone actually developed a card system to play starter kit scenarios. That's great. Also, in the future, I would be interested in making perhaps a C# script or a VBA script with a min-max algorithm and alpha-beta pruning. That's beyond the scope of my knowledge. I'm doing research on it presently. I have some C# and VBA experience, but not enough to do a program of this magnitude. And that'd be great to have. And if we could implement it in Vassal, that would be great as well. And it would be great and would not be so great because I don't want to diminish anybody's potential from actually playing live games, because there is no substitute for live games. I would use solo play strictly for fine-tuning your strategy. Yep, or making an analysis. So once you've determined what type of scenario this is it an assault, a defense, or a meeting engagement, then you have to determine how am I going to play each side, whether I am the side that's assaulting or the side that's defending. And there are some rules. As the defender, even in the real game, you're allowed to make LOS checks gratuitously prior to your setup. So the whole point of the game here is if you're playing the defender or you're playing the defender on the side of your hypothetical opponent, do the proper LOS checks. Come up with the best line of sights to exert as much firepower as you can on the attacker while minimizing the amount of firepower that the attacker can exert on you. That's where you place the defender's units. As the play goes on, you may skulk, you may use your judgment to say, well, this unit should either prep fire or defensive fire. I'm not going to skulk him. So it's up to you to decide and be a good judge as to what the hypothetical player is doing, what the bot player should do. And allow for positions of route and advance without the need to low crawl. So once you've done those calculations, you should be able to determine where is the best position to place those forces. And you can these basic tenets or axioms, if you will, are good to keep in mind when you are playing as the live player as well. Okay, so general axioms for the defender. Let's go on to the next slide. General axioms for the attacker, right? So general axioms for the attacker are, as the bot player, okay, you devise 3 to 5 plans of attack. Get the scenario card, look at the map and determine you're the attacker. So you either will be in a position during your setup where you can set up your forces to have the first attack, the first shot at your defender, or you're going to be advancing up the board to meet your attacker and then subsequently fire. So in that respect, you need to study the map and come up with 3 plans of attack. Plan number 1, plan number 2, plan number 3. If you're creative enough to do 5, 5 is good enough. And then you take your dice, right? You're going to take the dice to determine which plan of attack will be in effect. If you're playing the defender, you won't know until you roll the dice what avenue of attack ultimately the attacker will take, right? You can design your plan of attacks in either Paint or Word before or after the defender sets up. Yeah, all depends. And then you select randomly the ultimate attack plan. So if you have 3 plans of attack, well, you could say 1 to 2 will be plan A, 2 to 3 will be plan B, and 4, 5, 6 will be plan 3. Let's see what's on the following slide. Nothing. That's the end, my beautiful friend. So at this point, I would like to show you how to come up with a plan of attack and using Word. So one thing I like to do is change my layout to landscape. Okay. And then you will load insert a picture, and the picture can be a vassal map. I've taken pictures of various game saves, so I'll load one here, this device. If you prefer, you can save your maps on, where are you going to save your maps? On OneDrive or the cloud, like SharePoint, or I forget the other commercial cloud drive. And that's one of my Tuesday night players likes to use that drive. I don't particularly care for it, but anywho, let's go to Documents and let's go to our game saves. Yep. And we'll pick any board. And as you can see, I have various maps here. And there you go. Here's a particular scenario. You can crop the map so you can get only the meat of the map. And the alternative to this is if you have a map board, you can put it in a plastic folder, more or less like this one, right? Okay, and this is a plastic cover, and you can use a dry erase marker instead, and it'll be a lot easier for people that are not too computer savvy. So I'm going to enlarge the map. And in this case, since everything is in a column, you may want to change the layout of the map to portrait and make it even bigger. And then as you can see, the map is there now. And let's say you're attacking in this direction, right? So you're going to insert some arrows. So you want to start with a curve, and you want to say, all right, let's say you're attacking a pincer movement around this marsh. So let's see if we can do it. Here, click, 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 click. And let's change that shape outline to a color that we can see. We can make it a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit more. And then, well, you're going to say, this is dull, it doesn't have any arrows. All right, great. So let's add a couple of arrows, go to shape outline, dashes, arrows, and you can select any arrow you wish. There you go. And it put it in the opposite direction. All right, so Let's go back to insert, click on this, and format shape, format picture, and fill, picture color, no rotation, effects, glow, shadow. All right, let's do it again, okay? Let's just do it again. It'll be easier. All right, so shapes. Here we go again. Curve. Here, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. Okay, and double click there. Okay, now let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's change the color to red, and let's change the arrow to, let's change the arrow to, there you go. So you have a nice shape there showing the axis of attack. And you can make another one here saying it's a pincer movement, insert, shapes, curve again, and you can say group B will traverse this. All I'm doing here is clicking, go across here, bypass here, through the wheat field, through the woods, double click, put some more weight on the line, change the color to a nice bright red, and use the arrow to point. So it gives you a preview of where the arrow is supposed to be. There you go. So this is plan A. I have a pincer movement moving into the village. Create plan 2, plan 3. Randomly select the hypothetical attack. And this is something I got from reading the rule books for Gross Deutschland 42, which is another MMP game from the gamers. Yeah, so why not use tips and tricks you get from other games into a ASL, as long as you, when it comes to the rules, you look at the rule book and apply the rule as properly as you can. That's all for now. A little heads up. Unfortunately, I do not do videos on a regular basis for a number of reasons. When I am talking about tips and tactics, I need to play the game at least twice on each side before I start yapping my mouth. I'd like to give you guys the most amount of content in the least amount of time. I see that I've already been recording 18 minutes. So I'm going to cut the video a little bit short. Taking the time to play the game as thoroughly, the scenario as thoroughly as possible before uttering words, I think is a wise thing to do. So I'm hoping that instead of having frequent content, I'll have valuable content that you will appreciate as much as I appreciate you watching these videos. So having said that, I think I should have some more content coming up, in particular with respect to Hit Draw on the Rhine, which I've done numerous other scenarios, AARs about using the classic system, but I finally had the opportunity to play it with the ASL rule system. And let me tell you, this is a Murphy's Law scenario. Okay, it's a Murphy's Law scenario. The outcomes are all over the place. All over the place. Amazing, amazing outcomes, twists and turns, and as well, the quality of gameplay with the ASL game system is above and beyond the classic. Yes, the late John Hill designed a great game, but it evolved even further to an even better game. Trust me, yeah. And let's face it, let's be truthful and honest. The ASL game system is more taxing on the rules, but the hard work is worth the reward. Yeah. The other scenario that we'll talk to you about is a scenario that greatly favors the German player. It's a meeting engagement. I'm not going to tell you the title yet, but it is interesting in the sense that, again, it's very challenging. So I'll wait until my second round is played through, and with any doubts of the rules, I'll throw it out to you guys. 20 minutes. My time is up. Thank you for watching and take care. I hope you enjoyed this video, and look below for the links to David Garden's videos. Take care. Bye.